Hey guys, welcome back to Versatile Knowledge. So the situation of smartphones in India as of 2019 is really confusing. There are multiple brands which release multiple smartphones in an year, and there are brands which release multiple smartphones in a calendar year like Realme, Redmi and Samsung. If someone is looking to buy a smartphone in 2019 with a specific amount of budget, they'll be really confused which ones to buy. If they have a budget of around 20,000, the first thing that comes to their mind is, should I go for Redmi or Realme or Samsung or Motorola or Nokia? Almost every smartphones produced by multiple different brands perform really good for their particular amount of money that they ask for. Right from the Redmi 8A, which retails at around 6,500 rupees, to the Redmi 8, the Realme 3, Realme 5, Realme 5 Pro, the Redmi Note 7 Pro, Redmi Note 8 Pro, Realme XT, Samsung Galaxy M30s, the Nokia 6.2 Plus, the Motorola One Actions, and also the Oppos and the Vivos. There are not really any bad smartphones, or we can't frame any smartphone to be really bad performing smartphone. Almost every smartphone that is available today is actually really good, and there are abundant amount of smartphones that is present on the shelves both online and offline for the consumers to choose from. So the situation is actually really confusing for the consumers. Every time a smartphone buyer start their journey of buying a smartphone, they have the specific set of questions in their mind, like, should I go for the Redmi 8 or the Realme 3? Should I go for the Redmi Note 8 or should I buy the Realme 5? Should I buy the Redmi Note 7 Pro or should I buy the Redmi Note 8 Pro since it is new? Should I buy the Redmi Note 8 Pro or should I buy the Realme 5 Pro? Should I buy the Realme 5 Pro or Realme XT? Should I buy the Samsung Galaxy M30s or Redmi Note 8 Pro? And even if the budget is really high, like 35,000, 40,000, they will again have questions like, should I buy the OnePlus 7T or should I buy the Asus ROG Phone 2? And one answer to all these questions that comes to the minds of people that I would like to say is, no matter what smartphone you buy for your budget, you will not be disappointed. For example, if you are going for the Realme 5 instead of the Redmi Note 8, you will not be disappointed either. If you're buying a, let's consider Motorola One Action, which is not so popular when compared to the smartphones in that particular price segment, you will not be disappointed either with the performance or cameras or battery life. And what I would like to say is, there are no really bad smartphones that is being produced by the smartphone brands today. Any smartphone that you can choose for the budget that you have has its own set of pros and cons. It has its own set of abilities that will make it a really good buy at that particular price range. For example, if you buy a Samsung Galaxy M30s instead of the Redmi Note 8 Pro, let's consider, you will not be disappointed at that price because the performance is on par with the Redmi Note 8 Pro. And the screen quality is really better when compared to the Redmi Note 8 Pro. And it has a triple rear camera setup and all the bells and whistles a Samsung phone has to offer you. But instead, if you choose the Redmi Note 8 Pro instead of the Galaxy M30s, you get a really good gaming performance, you get a really great set of camera and that brilliant build quality of a Redmi Note 8 Pro. So that is why you see every smartphone comparison that happens on the internet, or if you see every smartphone comparison yourselves, the answer to that smartphone comparison ends with a decision to be left in the hands of the consumer. So if you're comparing two different smartphones in a particular video, or if you're comparing two different smartphones in a particular article that you find on the internet, you will not often find the actual correct answer to your questions. They leave the decision to your hands ultimately. That is because no two smartphones are leaps and bounds ahead of each other when they are comparing, because comparisons never happen like OnePlus 7T versus the Redmi 8A, because those two smartphones are two different price ranges altogether. If a comparison is happening in a video or in an article, it generally happens between two different smartphones in that particular price range. If they are comparing OnePlus 7T, they are comparing it with something like an Asus ROG Phone 2 or something. So the comparisons which happen in that particular price range often end up with the decision to be taken by the user itself. And consumers today, as of 2019, are more intelligent and more informed when compared to the consumers of 2015. Back in 2015 and 2016, the situation of internet in India was not that huge. And then came the Geo revolution in 2016, and the internet penetration happened, and India became a digital powerhouse of the world. And today, India is the second largest smartphone mobile data user and also the second largest market for smartphones in the world as well. So India is more intelligent, more informed, and it knows about the particular smartphone or that particular gadget in that price segment. So because of this level of internet penetration that has happened because of the Geo revolution and the smartphone data rates getting lesser, people know what smartphones are present in that price range. People know about the specifications of the smartphone. People know how good are the cameras about that smartphone. The consumers actually know how the smartphone feels in the hand because of the reviewers who have conveyed them through the videos or through the articles written on the internet. Before buying any smartphone, people know almost 95 to 96% of the smartphone. Apart from experiencing it themselves in their hand, they almost know everything about the smartphone through the reviews that is available online for free. No matter what budget you have, if you check a couple of videos over the internet, if you read few number of articles on the internet about the comparisons of two smartphones, or even if you blindly buy a smartphone in that particular budget that you have, you will never be disappointed with that particular purchase. Every smartphone has its own set of strengths and weaknesses, or the pros and cons, and no smartphone in whichever segment you buy or whichever budget that you buy is perfect. Even if you buy the 1,50,000 rupees iPhone 11 Pro Max, it also has its own set of pros and cons. It is also not perfect. So this part of the video was about consumers and how they have to choose a smartphone or something like that. What about brands? How do they need to strategize their release for the subsequent years? So the feedback that comes from my side to the brands honestly would be, brands need to slow down their smartphone releases. Instead of releasing 10 smartphones in 1 year, they can release one flagship smartphone in that particular calendar year, or they can go the OnePlus way by releasing one smartphone in the first half of the year and one flagship smartphone in the second half of the year. And when it comes to the budget smartphones, they can release one really good smartphone under 10,000, one really good smartphone under 15,000, and one really good smartphone under 20,000. So they have their clear-cut focus on the hardware front of the smartphones. They don't need to release like multiple smartphones like the 3s, the 3i's, the 3s's, the Pros. With this amount of smartphone releases, they're actually confusing the customers. Almost every brand offers exceptional value for money in terms of hardware specifications of the smartphone. When you compare to the smartphones under 10,000 rupees, you can find processors like the Snapdragon 665 or the Snapdragon 630 or the Snapdragon 439 or the MediaTek Helio P60s in that price range. When it comes to under 15,000, you can find the Snapdragon 710s, the 712s, Snapdragon 730s, Helio G90Ts on the smartphones. Proceeding forward to the price range of 20,000 to 25,000, we can even start finding the Snapdragon 855 and the Snapdragon 855 Plus smartphones. So in terms of hardware, I think almost every boxes are ticked in that price segment that a smartphone company is releasing. The feedback from my side is, since the hardware on every smartphone is almost great, if not exceptional, the brands need to focus more on the software. Software is what it makes a difference to even the average of hardwares. For instance, I used a Google Pixel 3a XL recently. That smartphone is priced at around 40,000 rupees. And for that price range, we can expect Snapdragon 855, but that smartphone does not have any higher end flagship grade hardware specifications. It has a very average Snapdragon 670 processor, which is like a mid-range processor, and the main difference that it makes to make that smartphone really great is the software. The software experience on the Pixel 3a XL was outstanding, guys. There was not even a single stutter, there is not even a single lag that I found out, because even though it has a mid-range hardware, it has been compensated by exceptional software by Google. I did not find any app crashes throughout my smartphone usage experience of that Pixel 3a XL. So what is that one takeaway from that experience that I had is, is the software is what it makes a difference for any smartphone that you buy. So the brands like Realme, Redmi, Motorola, Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, or any smartphone brand who release Android smartphones have to focus more on how can they make their software experience exceptional. For example, the brands need to focus on how can they provide lag-free experience, how can their software optimization can be better for faster app opening, how can they make bloatware-free UI experience, how can their whole custom skin can be less heavy and can be near to stock Android experience, how can it have less ads and more cleaner user interface on the smartphones, how can the memory management be better, how can the battery management be better, how can it produce more faster image processing on that particular hardware, how can they release the Android security patches as soon as possible, and how can they push the actual Android updates to that particular smartphone for at least 2 or 3 years after the smartphone release. And most important focus of software on any Android smartphone as of 2019 would be security. How can that particular Android smartphone manufacturer make their OS more secure? How can it provide more privacy to their users? How can they make their users' data more secure? How can they make that remote servers from not accessing the user's private information in the name of research and development? How can they make their devices more secure from data attacks? How can they make the devices more secure from security attacks? So these are some set of software level focus that brands need to make on their smartphone releases in the upcoming years. So for example, the Realme X2 Pro is an upcoming smartphone that will be released on November 20th in India. The Realme X2 Pro has a Snapdragon 855 Plus. It has a 90 Hz refresh rate. It has a 4000 mAh battery which is coupled with 50 watt VOOC fast charging, which can top up your battery from 0 to 100 in like 30 minutes. It has an exceptional 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display. It has a USB Type-C, stereo speakers, and also the quad camera setup, 20 megapixel selfie cameras, and the hardware level specifications is all boxes ticked. If this smartphone couples with a near to stock Android experience, like what Realme has been teasing from a long time, like they are working on a Realme OS or Color OS 7 to be near to stock Android experience, if it has lesser bloatwares, faster security patches, faster Android experience, faster animations, system-wide dark mode, and if it feels like an Oxygen OS or if it feels like a stock Android Pixel-like experience, and if the package comes around 20,000 rupees, what else the consumer wants? This is what near to perfect smartphone would look like in my opinion. OnePlus is India's #1 premium smartphone brand even today since the last 3 quarters. And the reason behind OnePlus being India's #1 premium smartphone brand is the software. Oxygen OS is so smooth, it is so fast, the animations are so brilliant, the experience overall is great, and hence so that software experience that is present on the Oxygen OS of OnePlus devices is what makes even the cons that is present on the hardware not actually cons. And I have not even seen a single Android smartphone brand which gives software experience near to OnePlus. And I'm stressing on this fact that the OnePlus Oxygen OS is actually faster than the Google Pixel's stock Android. And OnePlus is the only Android brand which offers the software experience like the Apple iPhones. So OnePlus is the Apple of Android smartphones is what I would like to say. So for brands to make sure their smartphones stand out in that range, the software is what it makes an ultimate difference. So guys, thank you for watching this long video. Tell me what you think about the situation of smartphone in India. How confusing is it to buy a smartphone in India? And also tell me your experience with any smartphone you are having right now in your hand to watch this video. So if you guys have liked this video, please hit the like button and share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more interesting technology related content ahead. Thank you for watching guys.